That's what it is. Like, if I really want a big fight, I'm gonna sit down with Bob as I do and tell Bob, like, yo, make this fight happen, man. Whatever we gotta do, let's do it. And then that other fighter have to go tell, whether it's Al or Eddie or Golden or whoever, I should never heard of that. Y'all want these big fights too. And we all agree, we should be out of it.
It should be next fight. I know Sean Porter was on the show. He said he loved your fight. Bud. You say Bud's style is wrong for Sean Porter. So who do you think it should be, Bud?
Earl and Bud is made for each other. I think they need to get past whatever they got going on. Earl got to stop with the 70-30. Like, I understand business, I get it. I got love for Earl too. I got his love for Earl too. But I'm just saying, like, 70-30 is like kind of pushing it when Bud is like been a champion for 70 straight years. Like 135, 140, 147. Like, you gotta pay that man. He's undisputed champ. Like, you gotta pay that man his respect too. So, like I said, that's the only fight I would want to see. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I think that's the biggest fight in boxing.
And how difficult would that might be for you, considering your relationship with Errol? And he's always talking glowingly about you. And then Bud is your guy too. And how difficult will that be for you to watch that fight?
I mean, I don't think it'd be too difficult. I think I would sit right there as a fight fan and just enjoy it. Like, I'm really like a boxing fan. Like, I love watching boxing. I would enjoy like the tactics and like everything that they do, like the mental game. Just to see like that kind of level. Like, I would love to see it like clash. Like, I would love to see them two top level fighters in the ring. Like, so I think I'd just be a student of the game right there.
And people want that fight so bad. Do you think it's a fight that will happen, or do you get a sense that maybe PBC is waiting to see whether or not Bud is going to re-up with Top Rank? And if he doesn't re-up with Top Rank this year, like, hey, okay, now we can make that fight, as opposed to trying to do it while he's with Top Rank.
I kind of do get that sense that PBC is like kind of waiting, kind of thinking that Bud probably gonna sign back with Top Rank. They probably want Bud to come over there with Dominant. I understand that, like, it's all business at the end of the day, so I get it. I just think that fight is like a long time coming. Like, they both in their primes right now. I don't want to see them fight 3 years from now. Like, right now is actually the time for them to be fighting. So I just feel like that they just need to get over whatever issues is stopping that fight from happening and make a lot of money and make boxing look good.
Another fight, and the guy who's under that Top Rank banner is Loma. And he's, obviously you haven't seen him since the Tiafimo fight, but all of a sudden he and Devin Haney been going back and forth on social media. Do you see that as a fight that could happen this year?
I'm not too sure. I gotta see. Like, I don't know. I'll be a little jealous of that fight because I'm calling out Lomachenko's name constantly. And it's like he just act like he don't see me. Like, he don't even want to say nothing to me, but he like speaking to Devin and all that. I would like to see the fight, but as a fight fan too. But I just know, like, it's certain things I pay attention to. Like, I got on TV and said Lomachenko, what up? Like, I got on TV not too long ago, said it, and they even tweeted it, all that. He don't say nothing, like, yeah, like, he don't see me, but he speak up when, you feel me, like, so I see what's going on. That's why I try to tell you when I say I'm a boogeyman. Like, there's certain things I pay attention to and stuff like that. So I do want to see that fight, though. I would like to see Devin like a big fight too. Devin, my friend, I got love for Devin too, so I want to see Devin in a big fight. He can make a lot of money too.
And have you gone to Bob and Todd, their Top Rank, because Loma is there under the same promotional banner, and say, hey, look, let's make this fight? I know when we had Tiafimo on, he was like, yo, it was a good fight, but I think Loma needs to stay at 130.
Exactly.
Guys at 135, we hit too hard, we're too big for him. Hey, you and Loma would be unbelievable. Have you approached Bob about trying to get Loma to do a fight with you?
Yeah, I did. Last time I did, they was telling me that Lomachenko is staying at 135. He don't want to go back down to 130. But I don't. We all feel like he should be at 130. Like that's the weight class that you did everything you did, and you was a great at that weight class. So I think you should come back down and come get your ass beat.
and if let's say if you talk to Bob and he say, hey, we can make the fight, but he wants to go to 135, is that something you would entertain going up?
I don't know because I just moved up from 126. Like I watched, I don't know, like I told you, I watched some shit. Like I watched AB. He jumped up 2 weight classes from 35 to 47, and they like turned out too good. Like, even though like I feel like skill wise, I got all the talent to do certain things. I just think that what's best for my career is me clean up the division at 130 and then go to 135. But I mean, if it make money, it makes sense. So depending on how much money they talking about, I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna give you 2 answers with that. Maybe so.
And we'll wrap up Lobo with this. This is your opportunity to talk to him now. What would be the incentive? What would be the reward for Vasily Lomachenko to fight Shakur Stevenson at 130 pounds right now?
I think that it'll be a big reward. I think that he just lost to one young, hungry lion. It's another one that's calling your name too. And if you come back and try to, beat this one, then it'll look good. It'll look like what you were saying was right. That, well, not what he was saying, what everybody else was saying. With the 135, that the weight was the problem. It'll look like that if he can come do that. But I promise you, there's no way he could do that. Like, it's impossible. I would not let him beat. Ain't no way a scared man could beat me. I feel like there was a lot of fear in that Teofimo fight. I just don't think a scared man could beat me.
I saw that you were in Miami recently, and you were at the Canelo fight, and you had a quote where you said, "I'm a huge Canelo fan." Tell me why.
I think that Canelo is one of the best boxers in boxing. I think that right there with Bud, Earl, skillfully, like Canelo's just on a different level. He just do things that I just like. Like I sit there and say, okay. Like don't get me wrong, that dude that he fought was good. Like everybody complaining about it. I get it. But like being right there to watch Canelo in person, my first time ever seeing him in person, seeing like the patience with him, like seeing like the sharpness, the skills, and somebody who actually like knows his game. Certain times you'll go watch like man fighters, and, like I ain't no disrespect and throw no names out there, but you'll watch man fighters and see them like skills and be like, they not really that good, but they got a strong punch or whatever it is. But you watch Canelo, you can sit there and see like the skills from Canelo. Canelo had real skills. I don't know where you learned from Floyd, but they kind of carried him throughout his career now. Like, he's just picking up on more and more things. Like, he got great waist movement. I seen the patience. I seen the creativity. Like he throwing the arm in the air, coming with an uppercut, pulling back, coming with like it was real creative watching him play. So a lot of people don't like Canelo, but I think that Canelo is a bad man. Like he's a hell of a fighter.
And when you look at the greatest fighters right now, you know Bud, you've seen people. Where would you say Canelo ranks right now?
I think that Bud and Canelo is 1-1. I think that I actually put Bud fight Canelo, to be honest, but Canelo like right there. Like skill wise, Canelo knows he's a real skillful fighter.
Very good. You mentioned it earlier. Obviously, you're a Jersey kid from New Jersey, proud to be from Newark. But now you live in Houston. You live in Texas. Man, that place got punished by that storm. How did it affect you?
It affected me. My family was down there with my mother. Lights was off. Electricity was off. It was cold in my house. It affected me some. But it was cool.
Yeah, but the power's back on and everything is good now with the family.
Yeah, everything's back on. Everything's running smooth. I should be home probably tomorrow.
Yeah, fantastic. This segment of the show is brought to you by Man Cave Health. It's a public charity that raises awareness nationwide for prostate cancer. Many of you know I battled prostate cancer, and had it not been for me taking a PSA test, you know, the doctor told me dead within a year. 30,000
2 yards on the play. And the Buccaneers first down.
Because they didn't know their number. They didn't get an annual check. And also, do you know 1 out of every 4 black men diagnosed with prostate cancer? My question to you, Shakur, how important is your health to you?
I think that my health is very important, especially being an athlete and a boxer at that, a professional athlete. So my health is very important, and I'm glad that you brought this up to me because I'm gonna start also start going to get a physical once a year too. So I'm gonna get on top of that. My health is very important.
And has anyone in your family, whether it be, you know, a grandfather who obviously very close to you from training aspect, uncle, father, anybody ever been diagnosed with prostate cancer?
No, but I'm definitely gonna talk to my grandfather, cause my grandfather my coach. I'm gonna tell my grandfather and going to like get physicals and get checked up and stuff like that. But I don't. He's good. Like everything is straight. So,
that's great, and that led into my next question. Do you think that if you weren't a professional athlete and obviously having to get checked out annually, do you think you would be just as diligent going to the doctor at least once a year, and making sure your grandfather and those guys, uncles, are going to the doctor as well?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that if I wasn't like, you feel me, training all the time and focusing on that, I think that I definitely would be doing that all the time. So, but even though I am, now that you said, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna give him a call as soon as we get off the phone and make sure I check on him and stuff like that. So,
the mission for Man Cave Health is to encourage all men to take just 1 hour out of the year to either get a physical and a PSA test. And with donations from people just like you can help other men who maybe don't have the resources to pay for a PSA test or a physical exam. All you got to do is go to the Man Cave Health website at mancavehealth.org and sign up for their free newsletter. It is a great resource. All men who get a physical and a PSA test. And all you got to do to donate to this public charity is text The Last Stand to 44321. Shakur, you know the deal. Everyone who comes on the show, we allow people who watch it to submit questions. We always get a number of them when you're on, so let's get right to it. This first one comes from Twitter, and it says, after seeing how Bob did with Tiafimo's bidding, does that make you think about your own worth, especially when your contract is up?
I mean, I ain't really thinking too much about when my contract up right now. We focusing on present. We locking in right now. Shit. On my fight. And, I'm happy for Tio, but at the end of the day, Tio got a good run for whatever they gave him with that. I think he deserved it after that fight with Lomachenko. So.
Next question from Twitter. This one asks, can you see yourself beating some of the champs at the higher weight class, 135, right now?
Yes, I do. I see myself being a lot of every one of them at 135. I think that I'm a different kind of fighter. I think that my skills is on a whole different level. Like I said, there's levels to this boxing. So I think I'm better than that.
So you can see yourself, whether it's Ryan Garcia, whether it's Tank Davis, you can see yourself fighting them cats right now.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that that'll be perfect for me. That's fine with me. I think that my skills carry on to the next weight class. So.
It says here, next one from Twitter, what do you think you have, do you think you would have to leave Top Rank in order to take your career to the next level?
No, I think that Top Rank is already making my career on the next level. I think that Tyrank is doing a great job with me. ESPN is also chipping in and helping out. So I think that they're doing a great job as of right now, and I think everything is good. Like, I think that my career is going to keep getting better and better. I'm still just 23 years old, so you got to give me some time.
This one from Twitter as well. It says, what's the boxing style that you feel would showcase your potential if someone were to see you fight for the first time?
Rosen's pass. Complete.
I don't know. That's kind of hard. Probably like a banging style, like Oscar Valdez come forward. I think that if me and him fight, I'm going to be able to show a lot of my skills, and I'm going to be able to shine as much as possible. So I think maybe that kind of style.
Shakur Stevenson, it's time for the last segment of the show. We call it The Last Stand. You know the drill. I'm asking you a series of questions. We give you the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready, champ?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First thing that comes to your mind when I say Canelo Alvarez?
Defense.
He was
You like your defense,
Do
you seriously believe that Errol Spence and Bud Crawford will fight this year?
No.
They're calling the lightweight division the Four Kings: Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Tank. In your opinion, who's the best fighter out of all four?
I don't know. I can't really answer that one. I don't know.
Oh, you told me there's levels to this thing. I know you know. I see you. You've been with Devin. You done sparred with Tank. I know you know.
I think that they all great fighters. It's really hard to say when they're not like fighting each other. I think that
First and goal at the
Tio is a really good fighter. Tank is a really good fighter. Devin is a really good fighter. Like, it's hard to say. Like, I can't really just sit here and tell you like how come you fighting each other.
Instead of a boxer, you ought to be a politician. The way you carried and moved or slipped with that question. Okay, give me the one fighter not named Shakur Stevenson who's the next pay-per-view star.
Not named Shakur Stevenson, next pay-per-view star. Keyshawn Davis.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a young buck in there. Okay, I like that one.
Yep.
Last but not least, Shakur Stevenson will be a two-time world champion by win.
Touchdown.
Shakur Stevenson will be a two-time world champion by September.
I tell you, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. It's the biggest names in the sport. None other than Shakur Stevenson. Man, I appreciate you again, man. I can't wait to see you back in the ring. I can't wait to see you fight for a world title. I think a lot of people want to see you with that strap back around your waist.
I appreciate you too.
That's what we do on The Last Stand. We bring the biggest names like Shakur Stevenson. Thanks for watching this. We'll see you again.
At their own 25-yard line.
It's the Last Stand Podcast. And here's your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. The Last Stand, where we bring you the biggest names in the sport. I am Brian Custer, and in the 168-pound division, one of the biggest names is our guest today. He is a two-time WBC super middleweight champion. He's known as El Bandera Roja in the ring. The red flag, he is David Benavidez. David, welcome to The Last Stand.
How you doing, man? And I just want to thank you guys for inviting me out to be on the Last Stand podcast. I really appreciate you guys reaching out. And, everything is going good, man. I've been working extremely hard. I've been up in Big Bear. I've been up here for 11 weeks already, so I'm ready to put on a great performance March 13th.
Yeah, so March 13th, you're going to be on Showtime Championship Boxing, headliner, taking on Ronald Ellis. What should we expect? What do you know about Ronald Ellis?
Well, Ronald Ellis has, he probably has as much experience as I have. He's 30 years old. He's either 29 or 30 years old. I'm not too sure, but he's coming off of a big win against Matt Korobov. And as you guys know, they just made this fight a title eliminator. So there wasn't already enough motivation going into this fight fighting me. That if he ends up beating me, he's one step closer to a title. So I feel like Ronald Ellis is going into this fight very focused, very motivated. But I'm extremely motivated. I'm extremely focused. I work hard for this whole training camp. So I'm looking for it to be a really good fight.
Last time we saw you was last time we saw you in Reno. How different of a fighter will we see when you take on Ronald Ellis?
I feel like you're going to see a completely different fighter. There's still going to be everything I do is going to be the same. Great jab, great body shots, great combinations. But I feel like right now we're at the place I'm at mentally and physically. I'm 100 times better than I was. Last August, I came to. This is my first time coming in Big Bear since I fought Porky Medina. And then you guys seeing how I look like when I fought Porky Medina. I'm expecting the same type of flash, same type of combinations. And, I'm getting older as well. I just turned 24 being out here. I feel like I'm getting that much closer to my man strength. So I feel strong. I feel good. Everything is perfect for this training camp. So I feel like I'm gonna get an early stoppage.
You mentioned Big Bear and that you've been training there. You've been training there for weeks. Why Big Bear instead of your own gym there in Washington State?
Well, because of what happened. A lot of my promoters, myself included, was very upset with me not making the weight. And I just wanted to get a fresh start and get out here, and be a little bit more, not focused, because I was already focused, but make sure everything was on point. I just had a weigh-in today with the WBC. I was 175, so I'm about 6-7 pounds, closer to the weight. And everything has been good. I feel like when I'm in Big Bear, I get the best out of myself. Mentally, physically, I'm the best I've been in my whole career. And like I said, I've been working for this fight. Apparently, like if it was a world title fight, I didn't cut my fingers, I could skip any rounds.
Don't pitch it, man.
I'm taking my opponent very serious. I just feel like this is what I have to do. It was very unfortunate. I just have my son. I had to leave over there in Washington, but to become a champion, these are the sacrifices you have to make.
And what about going forward? Do you see yourself training back in Washington State, or is this going to be something that's going to be frequently?
I think for my career, this is going to be the route I'm going to take. Like I said, mentally and physically, I feel like I'm at my best. I'm at my peak, and I'm very satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm looking at sparring. I've been going 15 rounds each sparring session with Abby. I've been sparring for 10 weeks already. Every session has been 15 rounds. So I feel like, the big fights are going to come. They're going to come sooner than later. So I feel like for me to be at my best shape, to get the best of myself, I have to train up here. So I'm going to be coming back here.
It seems like, David, everybody in your weight division wants Canelo Alvarez. And why not? I mean, he's ranked as the top guy in the division. Obviously, it's always a big money maker. How realistic do you think is that fight?
To be honest, I'm not really thinking about Canelo right now. I feel like everybody's chasing Canelo, but I feel like there's more fights to be made. Realistically, if that fight were to happen, if everything goes perfect, I win the fights, and then, I end up fighting for the WBC title maybe in a year and a half. But I feel like right now, there's a lot of great fighters in the 68, especially I heard about Charlo coming up to the 68, me and him been going back and forth. There's Billy Joe Sanders, there's Callum Smith, there's Caleb Plant. So I feel like for me, myself, I want to earn the Canelo fight. And I feel like the way I earned the Canelo fight was to be well. I'm sure I can make it happen. I'm sure I'm 100% positive I can beat all these guys. So the only thing I need is opportunity right now. And at the end of the day, boxing wins because these are the fights all the fans want to see. So why not? Let's get it.
You mentioned Caleb Plant. We had Caleb on the show, and obviously, we asked him about fighting you. My question to you is: have you had any conversations at all with Al Heyman, the PBC, about getting a Caleb Plant fight this year?
I'll try to have a conversation over and over again. But, at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to fight me, there's nothing I can do. I feel like he's going to sit out as long as he can until he gets the Canelo fight. Because, for him, it's just business. And business-wise, that fight makes more sense to him because I feel like I'm more of a threat and he doesn't win as much. If he loses more if he loses against me than if he loses against Canelo. But even after, if he gets the Canelo fight, if he beats him or he loses, I still want to fight Caleb Plant either way. I feel like there's a lot of unsettled business right there that they have to settle. Well, like I said, I've been trying to get that fight. I've been pushing for it. I feel like it's time. I feel like the fans want to see that fight. So, I'm willing to fight on my end, but if the fight's not happening, what's going on that end?
So when we talk with Caleb, and I want to quote him. He said,
"Of course he feels that way. He's done lost his belt twice, once for cocaine, and now he's done lost on the scale, coming in like 2 pounds over or whatever. So, of course he wants to feel like that he can just jump the line again and get a world title fight. And, in his eyes, he feels he's going to beat me and then get the Canelo fight, but boxing doesn't work that way. So, he's had his opportunities. We were looking closer and closer to doing that fight for the fans. That's a fight that I wanted for a long time, even when we won the belt from Ronald McGill. I was standing right at the bottom of the stairs before we didn't get to the back. He said, "Hey, let's make a fight now." And he said, "Yeah, I'm here. Let's fight first." Get up to his level, and that way we can make a big fight. Since then, he lost the belt twice, so it seems like he don't feel the same way. That has to do with him. So that fight don't happen. He needs to work his way back, and I'm glad he bests his ass. What's your response?
What do you guys want me to say? He goes, he fights Andy Lee, he fights Fight and he fights Caleb Truex. People, they're starting to catch on. They don't want to see these fights because they're very one-sided. And these guys are more over the hill than they are behind. You know what I mean? These guys, they have losses. They've been knocked out. So, I think that people are starting to question Caleb Plant. I feel like the best should just fight the best anyways. And I'm not thinking about beating him just to fight Canelo. I want to, specifically beat his ass just to get that out of the way. I'm not thinking about anybody after, or I'm not thinking about anybody before. I want to get that fight because me and him is something personal that we have to settle in the ring. And we've been hyping that fight. The groundwork is done. We've been having that fight up for about 4 years. So I feel like that fight has to be made. It's not skipping the line. How am I skipping the line if I've already been a two-time world champion at 168? If there's any line, I should be in front of that line. I'm not skipping nobody. I was already champion. So instead of him saying I'm skipping the line, then why is he fighting people that's Anthony Durrell knocked out Caleb Truex. Caleb Truex has a lot of losses. All you do is beat. The only person that wasn't beat was Andy Lee. Mike Lee, whatever his name is, he wasn't even ranked anywhere near there. So I feel like he has to say stuff, he has to fight for stuff because, he knows that the pressure, everybody wants to see that fight. With or without title, I would love to fight that. With or without title, doesn't matter.
Yeah, your father was quoted not too long ago as saying Caleb Plant has no heart. Is that true?
No, I don't think he said that. I think he said he has no balls.
Brings up second and goal.
Yeah,
at the 7-yard line.
I think it comes a point in time where a champion has to face some type of adversity. And not only because of the fighter, he has to face a fighter where it has to be 50-50. And I feel like that's where it comes from my father saying whatever he's saying. Because, he's not really challenging himself. He's not really solidifying himself as a champion. The true champion goes out there and beats a guy that everybody says that he's not going to beat. So just like me, that's why I want, because when I'm done with this, I want my legacy to be that, David Benavidez, he didn't overlook, he didn't dug no opponent, he fought the best, he beat the best of the best. That's why I'm trying so hard to make these fights happen. With either Charlo, Caleb Plant, Canelo, all these dudes that are right here in my weight class, but I feel like I just need to wait for my opportunity. And at the end of the day, time is on my side, so I got more enough time early. But, these guys' clocks are running out, but I just turned 24. I feel like I'm getting stronger. And not only that, I'm getting the experience in the ring. I'm learning more every day. I know how to go in the 12-round fight, the 12-round shit. So it's getting more dangerous for them the longer they wait.
We'll wrap up the Caleb subject with this. I just saw Eddie Hearn said that you and Caleb should fight in May, and then the winner should fight Canelo Alvarez.
I mean, I feel like that's really good. Not only for Canelo, but it's also good for the sport. I feel like sometimes these fights are getting out a little bit too easy. I feel like these fighters have to earn the opportunity, especially if it's against a cash cow like Canelo. So I mean, I'm all up for it, but I feel like if you tell it to Caleb, fight David and then fight Canelo, or just fight Canelo, he's definitely going to go with Canelo because he knows that I'm a threat. As much as he says, as much as he talks about, he knows I'm a threat. From round 1 to round 12, I'm a threat until he'll fight after me.
You mentioned his name, and so I wanted to bring it up because he got on social media and talked about you with Jamal Charlo. And he basically said, with David Benavidez, let's fight at a catch weight, but he's got to get vaccinated. I want to make sure that I'm fighting people who've been vaccinated. How realistic do you think that Charlo Benavidez fight?
The type of stuff he says is very silly. I mean, isn't it enough that we go through these protocols already? I'm testing negative all the time. And now he wants to do it at a catch weight. But before, I had heard Charlo, let me tell you how it started. I had heard Charlo was come up to 168 last year. So I kept getting interviewed. People kept asking me, and I had never disrespected him at anything. I said, I like Charlo. I like the way he fights. Me, just looking into the fight as a fan, I mean, I would think it would be an amazing fight. I feel like me and Charlo had a similar style, and it would be a great fight. They kept asking me. I kept saying the same stuff, and I think I seen an interview with Charlo not too long ago, and he said, you'd knock me the F out. And he's all, yeah, I'll break, I'll snap his neck. I go up to 160, I'll snap his neck. He's exactly like me. All right, you better, if you're gonna talk to me like that, you better be ready to back the person. I never back down ever. So I kept saying, I didn't say I was gonna go down to 160. I didn't say I wanted to fight him like catch weight. He said he was gonna come up to my weight class. So I think when people really started putting the pressure on him, this one is the type of stuff said that he wants me to get vaccinated. He wants me to meet at a catch weight. He wants to see proof of GED. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's just simple, man. I mean, like I said, I want more challenges. I love it. This is what I'm here for. I'm in the sport of boxing because I want to do stuff that people say I can't do. And this is a combat sport. At the end of the day, I'm not scared of nobody. But for him to he calls me out and then he backpedals and then he puts all these restrictions or whatever on just the fight. It's kind of odd, but I'm gonna keep calling him out. I'm gonna keep antagonizing him. I'm gonna keep pushing his buttons until he's gonna have to see me in the ring. So I mean, hopefully that fight happens. I mean, I feel like for me, just talking about how which way my career wants to go, I feel like that has to be one of the fights I have to get.
Yeah, and what, as we wrap up the Charlo subject, what does Jamal Charlo need to know if he's coming to 168 fighting David?
That'll be his last fight at 168. I'll send it back down to 160.
Okay. Another young man we had on the show was Mr. Berlanga.
Yeah.
And obviously in your weight division, a young, hungry, young lion. And so I guess he had heard something that you had said about him, knocking out a lot of tomato cans or guys that he hadn't fought yet. And so his quote on the show was, I said, "Well, David Benavidez." Quote:
take a step back and understand it and look into the box ring and understand the first 16 opponents he fought and the first 16 opponents I fought. I've been playing guys with winning records that's never been stopped. He's hating. He sees the buzz that I'm getting.
That's a complete lie, though. I went on his box ring. I've seen that. The guys that he fought have never been knocked out. Go on his close box ring right now, you'll see they have been knocked out. So I don't know where he's getting this type of information. I don't know if he's just trying to flex because he's on the show, this and that. But I pulled up his box ring, and those guys have been knocked out. There has been no guys there that hasn't been knocked out. So first of all, I don't know what he's talking about. Second of all, I'm not his friend. I'm not trying to be his friend. I'm not trying to be nice to him. At the end of the day, we're the same age. I think he's 23. I'm 24. I just turned 24. So he's in my weight class. Of course, if he has, everybody thinks, he's the next line coming up. Like I said, these are the type of fights I want. He should be happy that I'm mentioning his name because I only mention people who are good. I don't want to fight people that are less than me or that have no name. I see he has potential to be a good fighter. He's a really good fighter. He has a lot of knockouts. And if the fight would ever happen, it would be an amazing fight. Mexican and Puerto Ricans, they'd get together. It would be a huge fight. It would be a huge fight. So these are the type of fights I want, but everybody gets mad. They can say, well, at the end of the day, I'm not nobody's friend here. I'm not trying to be a friend. I'm not trying to be in a relationship with these people. I'm trying to knock them out. So if they mad, so be it. I'm going to try to knock you out anyway.
And I love having guys of your caliber on because you're so honest. So let me ask you this. If it was up to you, Mr. Lukowicz, helps manage you and things of that nature with PBC. But if it was up to David Benavidez, and you say, you know what, B, these are going to be my next 3 fights. Who would be your next 3 fights?
The first one would definitely have to be Charlo. The second one, Caleb Plant. If the third one, if it would be possible, probably get blessed, that blessing would be But those are the top 3 fights. I've been thinking of that for a while, so those would be the fights I would love to get.
And as you sit here now, as talented as you are, and as exciting as a fighter, have you come to terms yet with the fact that you lost the title now twice outside of the ring?
Yeah, stuff happens, man. It's just me, especially with the last time it happened, it was just something that was not in my control. With the coronavirus, I should have been a little bit way more prepared, or I should have been more prepared. It's just that, the last week was crucial with the sauna, the hot bathtub you need, and I didn't have any access to that the last week of the fight. But hey, I'm not the only one that's been missing weight because of the pandemic. Look, you see, it was me starting off first, and it was very unfortunate. I had to be the first one to get thrown under the bus like that. But I take full responsibility for that. But if you guys see David Morrell, he missed weight too, and I've never had a never seen nothing about him. He fought it was supposed to 168. He made 170 for a second. And then instead of taking his belt, they changed his fight from a title fight to a 10-round. You know what I mean? There's other people's been a lot of people have been missing weight, and it's not an excuse, but this is just different times we're living in. And especially if you go into a bubble, not knowing nothing, not thinking that you're gonna be able to go, run outside or go get in the sauna. You can't do that. When we got to Connecticut, I had to quarantine for 2 days inside the room. When we would be able to leave the room, I could only leave for an hour a day. So I was just very unprepared for that. But as making peace with losing the belt twice, right now the only thing that matters is that I'm still extremely hungry. I'm working as hard as I can. I make these sacrifices. I think you guys could tell because I didn't have to leave. I left the week of my birthday. The next week was Christmas. My son was 2 months old. I didn't have to leave that week. 13 weeks was more than enough time to, you had to do 12 weeks would be perfect training camp. But I just said, I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to be on point. I'm sorry. I told my girlfriend that I'm sorry I have to leave. My birthday and Christmas, my son's first New Year's, but everything is going to be worth it. I'm doing this for you guys at the end of the day. So I'm just looking at the future. And everything is. I'm working hard to make sure to keep this weight on check, and everything else has been on check. So now I just look towards the future. I'll look back.
I love your story, man, because I think people. It's mind-boggling to think that you were a 15-year-old kid that was like well over 250 pounds, just basically playing video games, sitting on the couch. If you could give us the brief version of how David Benavidez not only changed his life, got himself in shape, and then got right into boxing.
Yeah, well, I was born into boxing, basically. I was 3 years old when I first started boxing. And the way that happened is my brother was always training. He was like 7 years old. He's 5 years older than me, so I was 3, he was 7, something like that, or 8. And I would just keep passing by. A little kid, he wants to go in the garage, he wants to train with his brother and his father. And eventually they let me in, so I had been training until I was 12 years old, maybe almost 10 or 9 years. And then my brother, he got an opportunity to get signed by Top Rank, but he had to go to the Wild Spark gym to train there. So my parents were divorced. They had been divorced for a long time. So he went that way, I went this way. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have to train. The first time in 10 years, I could be a kid, be at home, play video games, and eat all day. And I just got too comfortable with it, man. And one day I looked at myself in the mirror. I was already like 160 before he left. And I ended up going to like 250, something like that. In like less than a year. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, man, if I keep going, it's not, I don't even recognize myself anymore. I'm gonna have a lot of health problems when I get older. And I don't, I feel like I invested 10 years of my life into boxing already just to throw it away in a year. I'm like, I'm just gonna call my dad up, see if they're gonna let me go over there and train with them. So when I got over there, I was 13 years old. And I started training, my dad, he's like, I don't even know where we're going to start, but I mean, if you want to lose weight, we can try to start losing weight. So I shut off a year, I shut off like 50 pounds, and then the next year, like another 40 pounds, something like that. But the thing about that was I had the experience in boxing. So once we got the weight off, I was like, well, what's the next move? I'm not just going to train just to train, So the first guy I sparred, the first real world champion I sparred was the Team Coyote. I was 14 years old. So 200 or 190, like 185, something like that. And I think that's really where everything started. My mentality had to change a little bit different because these guys, when you spar a world champion, they'll spar you until you catch them with something, then they'll try to kill you. So I had to learn to defend myself like that. The Team Coyote's freaking big, 6'2", scars in his face. But the thing about me is I always had heart. I never backed down from nobody. I never shied away from the fight. If I got hit with one shot, I had to come back with 2 more shots. So it started with him, and then I sparred Peter Quillen, and then I got the opportunity to spar Kelly Pavlik, and that was at 15. And then I was sparring other guys, sparring some really good amateurs. And then I got the chance to come down here to Big Bear for the first time at 16.
Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. That's some bullshit, bro. Dumbass kids, man.
And the first day we sparred each other. It was in the last round, the last 30 seconds. We both got each other with left hooks to the body.
You bullshit bridges and stuff you get, man. Such a scrub ass.
That love left hook, we both stepped back and we just looked at each other in the bell. And we just embraced each other. And I feel like that was a really great relationship with me and him. The last time I sparred him, we fought Daniel Jacobs. So it was like 4 years working with him, and I think he really sharpened up my mind because I had to be extremely sharp with him. That guy was, man, if I slacked one day, you could, because you never know when Golovkin, he has such power, he can hurt you at any given moment. So you have to be extremely sharp, extremely sharp. So when I figured out how to box him and do stuff with him, everybody else became cake. It became extremely easy. Not extremely easy, but it became different because Golovkin was a different caliber fighter. So I feel like he was the pinnacle of everything. And once I learned how to box him, sometimes I'll box him and do stuff with him. Everybody else was easy, but I sparred after him. We sparred Gabriel Rosado. We also sparred Gilberto Ramirez for a couple of years. I also sparred Dimitri Bivol for the last, like a year and a half before COVID. And then also Alexander, what's his name? The one that fought, got knocked out by Artur Beterbiev.
Oh, Artur Beterbiev.
Yeah. But the one that fought him.
Okay.
I sparred him too. So I mean, and then also what makes me very proud too is I really came from the bottom, man. I wasn't anybody in boxing because I didn't even have an amateur career. The only thing I had going for myself was people would hear about me, hear about my name, because I had boards in the gym, boards on top of boards on top of boards. So that can only get you so much. People, especially promoters, they look at you like, oh yeah, he's a gym warrior. You know what I mean? So I really had to work my way up from the bottom, and I got signed, and You know, I think everything happens. You know, when I started boxing, when I really started taking boxing serious before I was professional, I said, I don't even know if I'm going to become a world champion, but I'm not going to be a boxer and not put my 110%. So if I don't become anything in boxing, it's fine with me. All I want to do is make sure I gave my all. Whatever happens, happens. To this day, I feel like that's the mentality I have, and everything paid out for itself, man. I'm extremely happy where I'm at in my life state.
That's great. What do you think about these YouTubers, man? And all of a sudden it's becoming bad that these YouTubers are having these huge fights.
I honestly, man, I don't. If they could do it, they could do it. I feel like they found a real life hack in boxing. You know, those are real life hacks. I mean, not everybody can do it. I mean, I don't mind watching it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I guess, but as of like the sign of disrespect to boxing, it kind of is because these guys get paid more than actual boxers that really put their whole career, their soul into their career. And I don't feel like that's fair at all. I feel like a lot of boxers are paid too. But if they can do it, I mean, that's just the way the world works, man. Sometimes you can't do nothing about it. But I mean, it's cool. I don't really feel no type of way about it.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Man Cave Health, a local charity that raises awareness nationwide of prostate cancer. Many of you know I battled prostate cancer, and had it not been for me taking a PSA test, the doctor told me I could have been dead within a year. 30,000 men die every year from prostate cancer.
They'll take over first and 10 at their own.
So along those lines, let me ask you a couple of questions. The first question is, how important is your health to you, David?
You know, my health is everything. And it's not only about myself, it's about my family, too, because if anything happens to me, I mean, I feel like it's very devastating. Nobody wants to see, nobody in your family wants to see you go through anything. So, yes, the health definitely has to be number one and the most important thing in your life.
And along those lines,
he's gonna have every stupid fucking thing happen.
Has anyone in your family ever been diagnosed with prostate cancer, or anyone in your family ever had prostate cancer?
No, nobody in my family has ever had it.
And even though you're a professional athlete and you know you have to get physical every year, you have to be in great shape. Are you one to make sure that, let's say your father, your uncle, the other men in your life are regularly getting checked?
You know, definitely. I feel like you definitely have to push them to that point because I feel like me, not only just me, but my dad is Mexican, and a lot of Mexicans are hard-headed, man. So I feel like definitely we have to be on top of that because at the end of the day, my father's my rock, and I never want to see nothing happen to him, or even my uncles, you know, my uncles and my grandparents, man. So that definitely has to be something you have to push, you know, to make sure everybody's in good health to go get themselves checked up.
The mission for Man Cave Health is to encourage all men to take just 1 hour out of the year to either get a physical and a PSA test. And with donations from people just like you, you can help other men to pay for a PSA test or a physical exam. All you gotta do is go to the Man Cave Health website at mancavehealth.org and sign up for their free newsletter. It is a great resource.
Complete to Jalen Rager.
All men
A gain of
get
13 yards.
and a PSA
And the
test.
Buccaneer
And all you
first
got to
down.
do to donate to this public charity is text The Last Stand to 44321. Fantastic. Dave, obviously, for everyone who watches the show, we allow them to submit questions through social media, and we got a number of them, so let's get right to them here. This first one comes from Twitter. This guy asked, he says, David, I started boxing when I was 14. I'm 17 now. I still haven't had my first amateur fight. Do you think I'm behind in the sport if I want a future?
I don't think you're behind in the sport. I think the type of mentality that you have, you know, you definitely have to make it a little bit more stronger because, you know, it just depends on all the work that you put in. You know, I feel like you're only as good as the work you put in. So if you keep working day and night, you know, obviously even for me at this time, boxing and training is still hard for me. And I've been boxing for 22 years. So you just have to keep pushing and, keep having that dream in your head. You see Sergio Martinez. He started boxing at, 21 years old? Mm-hmm. Became one of the best middleweights in history. The Bronze Bomber. He was a college football player. He took on boxing pretty late. Arguably one of the best heavyweights ever in history. So I don't think it's too late. I think, if you really want something bad enough, you go in there, you say your mind, dedicate yourself, make anything happen.
Next one comes from Twitter. It asks, what was a better performance for you and why? The rematch you had with Verville or the fight you had with Medina?
I think for me personally, the better match, in my opinion, was against Verville because the stakes were a little bit higher. It was a rematch. People thought he beat me in the first fight. So, I just had to go out there and show people why I was the youngest super middleweight champion in the world. The first fight was good. It was a close fight. I give it to that. But, as me being as young as I was, 21 years old, and I just set myself apart from the fighter that everybody thought that was a close fight against, that was more satisfying to me. Obviously, the knockout was satisfying, but, just for me personally, knowing that I can come back and set myself apart that much, I think the second match with Will was more satisfying.
This next one comes from Twitter from Artman. He asks, what did you think about Canelo when he said a year and a half ago that he didn't want to fight other Mexicans?
That's like sometimes, man, I feel like boxers just say all any type of stuff just to get the pressure off of them. I really don't know what he meant about that. At the end of the day, I'm Mexican American and Ecuadorian, so I'm not 100% full Mexican, so he's gonna have to fight me. I think it's just sometimes he just says stuff. I don't have too much opinion on that. I really didn't know what he meant by that himself either. But
this one from Twitter he says, how realistic is the fight between you and Jamal to actually happen?
Well, the way I'm gonna start pushing this fight, he's gonna have to take it for people are gonna start to see what type of person he is. I feel like Jermell Charlo, he's really just a talker too. You see that with Daniel Jacobs, you see with Hugo Andrade, all these people. I think he just likes to hype himself up. At the end of the day, he doesn't even like to make the fights. But I think this would be a great fight. It makes sense for me, for him, and for PBC because I feel like it could potentially be a great fight. So why not? Hopefully, I will talk to Al Heyman and everybody, and Lisa Cruz after the fight to see how likely that fight is to make happen. Hopefully, it gets made.
Another one from Twitter asks, David, Charlo, Plant, or Langa, which one of these guys can you get in the ring? You think ASAP?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure that out myself, man. That's a hard question, but I don't know, bro. Honestly, to be honest with you, I would love to get all of them in the ring the next 3 fights. But you see how this goes. I've been calling them out. They show no interest in fighting me, so it's a question I really can't answer right now.
This one from Xander from Twitter. Yes, he says, David, why do you continue to lose your belts outside of the ring?
I guess undisciplined. I can't say nothing. What do you guys want me to say? Unless you guys want me to say I'm undisciplined, I'm undisciplined. But, now we're trying to make up for everything. And, I feel like we're in the right path now. So I can't really talk about the stuff I did back then. Now I can just try to show you guys what we made about today and now.
This one from Twitter as well. It says, is it more satisfying or frustrating being the most avoided and best boxer in the world, or is it both? And if so, which one do you lean more towards?
I feel like it's a little bit more frustrating because at the end of the day, I just want to get these fights made. And I feel like if you're more of a threat to these people, than any other fighter, then it's hard for you to get fights. Like how long it took Golovkin to get that Canelo fight made. It's very frustrating but satisfying at the end of the day because people don't want to get these fights made with me for a reason. But I'm the youngest dude out here, and everybody, they're not really too eager to get these fights made with me. So it's frustrating but satisfying at the same time.
Last one from Twitter. It says, when will you make a permanent move up to 175?
I don't feel like I'm in a rush to go to 175. If an opportunity presents itself, like against John Pascal or Bobby Jack, where we can make those fights happen, I would definitely go up. But right now, I feel like there's too much. There's a lot of fights I want to get made at 168. I mean, I can move up to 175. No problem. I don't have no problem.
Oh, yeah.
6 today, 175. But I feel like there's. I owe it to people, fans.
Give him every fucking break. Still gonna lose. It's dumb shit, man.
I gotta give him the
What the fuck is going on right now?
So I feel like I can be here for the next 3-4 years. And the good thing about it is I'm still young. I'm still 24 years old, so I still got a lot of time ahead of me. So I'm gonna be here for 168 for a couple more years.
All right, David Benavidez, it's time for the last segment of this show. We call it the last segment. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Give me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready, big fella?
Let's go.
First thing that comes to your mind when I say the name Caleb Plant.
I don't want to say it, man. I feel like it's fan friendly. I don't want to swear, but
No, it's the unfiltered straight talk with the last name.
I'll just say coward. Coward.
Who is the best fighter at 168, not named Canelo or David Benavidez?
Billy Joe Sanders.
Who's the biggest puncher at 168?
David Benavidez.
David Benavidez will be a 3-time world champion win.
Once I get that fight with Canelo Alvarez.
Is that what, a year from now? Is that,
I don't know, man. I want to know the question. I want to know the answer to it. Maybe in a year. Maybe in a year.
Got it. Last but not least, the greatest fight to come out of Phoenix. Is it Michael Carvajal or David Benavidez?
I'll give it to Michael Carvajal. You know, I'm a fan of boxing. I respect things that they've accomplished. You know, so compared to Michael Carvajal, I haven't accomplished anything. But I'm on my way. You know, by the time I finish my career, David Benavidez will be the greatest fighter ever come out of Phoenix.
You know what? And we'll wrap it up with this. I mean, everybody, when we mention David Benavidez, they're like, I love that kid. In your opinion, what makes David Benavidez special?
I think it's just the way I fight, the way I come forward, the way I never shy away from the fight. And I think people can connect to me a little bit easier to other fighters because, you know, I was a little fat kid. You know, I was a kid that was never supposed to be nothing in boxing. So I feel like they gravitate towards me a little bit. And I mean, you know me, I'm a nice guy. I feel like I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that, you know, I'm a prick, I'm a bad guy. So I feel like people at the end of the day, they like to be around people and they love to support a person that's really a people person like me.
Hey, you hit it right on the head. I'd say everything you said, 100%. David Benavidez, 2-time WBC super middleweight champ. Over to the time when you're the champion again. I appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you so much, and also I want to thank you and everybody else who supports me. I really appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much.
I mean, that's what we do here on the Last Name. We bring you some of the biggest names in the sport, like David Benavidez. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week.
The kick is good.
It's the Last Stand Podcast. And here's your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. The unfiltered, straight talk with some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. That's what we deliver on The Last Stand. I am Brian Custer. And in the sport of boxing, there are some supremely talented fighters. And at 130 pounds, one of them is a young man known as Prime Time. He is Chris Colbert. He joins us here on The Last Stand. Prime Time, what's up? Welcome to the show.
What's up, my brother? Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. You know, last time we saw you fight on Showtime in December, dominating performance that you put on. Now, what do you think your victory, the way you did it, what message did that send to the 130-pound division?
Wait, can you say that one more time?
that victory,
Not from the beginning, but we said it from the beginning.
well, as prime time,
On Showtime, I did a what?
you had a dominating performance.
Oh,
God, let's be honest, it was dominating. It was a dominating performance against a guy who was a slugger. What do you think that win said to the 130-pound division?
I mean, to be honest, I warned y'all before we did it. Like, I told y'all what I was going to do. I warned y'all, I told y'all we were going to put on the show and get the fans. Because I felt like I owed my fans and the boxing world a treat from what I did, the performance that I put on the fight before. I mean, even though I got the win, but it wasn't like an entertaining fight to me. It was entertaining. So I feel like I had to come out and the world. And I told y'all I was going to do that by stopping. And I did that in the 11th round.
You did do that. You defeated a guy who was Arboleta, who was known as a puncher. And the way you dominated him, do you think you changed the perception of people who said, well, Chris Colbert, talented fighter, but just a flashy boxer, that's it? That you changed the perception that you can do a lot more than just box?
I mean, if I did it, they just gonna have to step in the room with me and find out. But I definitely feel like I did. I beat him at his own game. I know they expect me to try to run and grab it, and I did what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to stand there, bang him out, and that's what I did.
You know, when you look at the 130-pound division, you got Burchell, the champion, Jojo Diaz, Jamel Herring, Tank Davis. When do you see Chris Colbert fighting for the world title?
To be honest, Colbert and God's playing, I'm Hayden's playing. I don't dodge nobody out. Whoever they put in front of me, I just knock him down. And listen, give me the right time, give me the right money, and make it a reasonable type of approach. Then I'm down. Listen, I'm in this game to build a legacy and to get all the belts and show the world prime time is not only that guy in baseball, football, he's that man in boxing too. And so hopefully within the next 2 years, we should get the title. If not, it's under David Gore or we gotta fight him. Whatever the case may be, I'm down for whatever.
You know, I love having, when we have fighters on, I love asking them this. Put your management aside. If you were your manager, you were your promoter, and you could get your next three fights. Your next three fights, Chris Colbert said, I'm fighting this guy next. What would those three fights be?
I am my next promoter. It would be definitely a Jamel Herring fight to take his title. And then it would be a Burchell fight to take his title. And then me and Javante Davis fight to make a super fight and then take his title.
But what's the one fight out there that Chris Colbert really wants right now that he believes that will take it to the next level?
One more other fight, and then after the me and Javante Davis fight, and then we put on Prime versus Prime. Shakur Stevenson versus Prime. And that's something that the world want to see, and that's something that hopefully will happen in the near future. But the fight, I feel like that will really build my legacy. Like, there's a lot of fights I can't really be too picky because I'm still an up-and-coming fighter. So like a Leo Santa Cruz fight, me dominating him would be a great fight. I can't really say I have Morales because he's been old and washed up. The Admiral Morales fight would give me a little bit of something, you know what I'm saying? Because he's been at great world with a lot of great champions. Two-time champion or something like that.
Yeah, you look at Abner, and Abner has been multi. So, you know, this is a guy 3-4 times. So,
yeah, so a fight like with him, Santa Cruz, who else? Jamal Herring, Burchell Leader. Those are just fights that I would want to get the fight. But Shakur Stevenson, Javante Davis. Those are the big fights that would really put me. The Javante Davis victory put me in the pound-for-pound list. Maybe at 1 or 2.
I'm happy you mentioned Shakur. We had Shakur Stevenson on the show. And recently he said he's the real boogeyman of boxing. No one mentions him. No one calls him out. You both are at 130. Is he right?
Oh, listen. I feel the same way. We asked the players to say that. Now they see the boogeyman, it don't make sense. Go to the top rank to fight. We go over to fight to the top rank. You get paid to do over. over there. He's not like the book man. He don't let it go that way. 30 people that was fight me like that. 126. After the say he was a big one guy, did not one guy. But he's a bad boy. Listen, it's no hate to my boy. I give respect to you. You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. He is a bad boy. He is be a hell of a fight. But I'm going to take that victory. I know that. It's win by any means necessary. I don't care if I look at shoot, clean, nothing. It's great. That's the only thing I know is win.
What do you think about the 130-pound division?
I think it's a super stack division of a lot of great fighters. Well, not super stack, but like a stack division. A lot of great fighters, but at the end of the day, I'm not really worried about it. I just want to be one basement name that when it's all said and done. I just want to get my titles and then go up to 35.
And that leads to how long do you see yourself fighting at 130?
To be honest, I can't really tell you because I never trained to the best of my abilities yet. Because I'm still comfortable. Like, I need to get out of my comfort zone and go somewhere else. That's what I'm trying to do for my next fight. Go into a real camp, like where I'm away from everything, where I can't, no distractions, because I'm still comfortable here. I mean, I train hard, but like, you know, when you're comfortable, you just don't do certain things. Like, I can just get up. I don't know what those skills are at. You go in jail, but I feel like I'll probably got a couple more years here if I do train, because I still make the weight now. So imagine if I really isolate myself and dig down, I'll be making the weight more and more, even more easier.
There's so much attention on that weight division that's right above you at 135, that lightweight division, whether it be Teofimo to take over, whether it be Ryan Garcia, whether it be Tank Davis, or whether it be Devin Haney. So many people are looking at that division, Loma as well, want all of those guys to fight each other. What do you think about that division? And in your opinion, who is the best fighter at lightweight?
To be honest, that's a super stack division. That division is hotter than the next that play Miami. And I feel like out of the four, I'm 3-3. Like, those are my dogs. But like, I feel like right now, Teofimo is that guy. Not only because the way he beat Lomachenko with the confidence and all of that is just, I just feel like he's really that guy right now. I don't think Ryan Garcia can win. I don't think Devin Haney would beat Ryan Garcia. I mean, would lose to Ryan Garcia. Then again, I don't think Devin Haney could beat Tank. And Tank, I don't know. Tank just don't be disciplined enough.
You were quoted last month as saying young American boxers are taking over the sport. Tell us, what do you mean by that?
There's been a lot of Mexican champions for a little while, a lot of champions from the UK, but these young American fighters, the ones that came up in my era, 2016, around those times, they taking over. Listen, Shakur Stevenson, me, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, Richardson, well, let's keep going. These are just the main winners that people talk about every day. There's a lot of other fighters out there that I can't really name because I don't really know them, but I name this stuff, but they really talented. So the Merc, West and Beat, some of the definitely West and Beat, and boxing world, but right now, it's gonna be like a tour. In the near future, we're going to have like a Toro Gotti versus Floyd, like Floyd versus Pacquiao. Like, I mean, we don't know between who, but that's definitely coming.
You were the subject of a documentary, I want to say, that aired on Netflix like 3-4 years ago called Counter Punch. How did that documentary showing how you came up, being a boxing prodigy, how did that affect your career?
I mean, it definitely took my career to the next level because I gained so much fans and popularity off that. And even to this day, I walk around and people like, yo, I see you on Netflix. And I'll be like, hey, everything is still there. And it feels dope because the Netflix original, it's staying up there, it's not coming down. So like,
First
But
and 10 at
it's
the
just,
12-yard line.
it felt good. I was like, text a lot of people, and like, cause people to the day text me on Instagram, like, you my role model, I look up to you, I see you in the documentary, they come check my
The
store,
quarterback second down
like,
and 7.
I love it. I
By
like,
Devin
I
White.
embrace all my fans,
Taken
I show
down
love to
back
everybody.
at the 18-yard line.
And listen, we just gonna keep going up.
You know, you mentioned it. You decide you're still a young man. I mean, let's be honest, you're 24, 25 years old.
Yes.
You decided to open your own business there in northern New Jersey. It's called Primetime Chicken. Tell me why.
185. But to be honest, the chicken thing, it was just something that scared money don't make no money. If I know I could do it. And so I just went with it. But I just quarantine opening my eyes because like I was spending like probably like 60,000-70,000 on clothes, sneakers and clothes and sneakers, like just spending money like crazy. And I'm like, yo, how? I mean, I made a lot of money too. During quarantine, I was gambling in the casino, in the app, on the phone playing roulette. 21, bet on 21, you never gonna lose. Yeah, with Broncos, said 21 black, never lose. but I was spending a lot of money and keep doing it. Yo, imagine if boxing don't come back. What are we gonna do? Nothing. What am I gonna do? I ain't going back to the corner. That's not my repertoire anymore. So like, I just decided I gotta invest. Really, in my plan to do was to open up a beauty bar. One thing we know for sure, two things for sure, is women always need their hair done, they need their nails done, they need their lashes done, and they need them waxing all that. So we can never go wrong with that. I don't care if it's quarantine or not. People go on Instagram Live, they don't look at the Instagram. Quarantine or not. So I was like, yeah, that's my plan. I was shopping around with my store, I'm building to get shopping around. And then my boy presented this one to me. I'm like, yo, listen. But it already had a kitchen in the type thing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take it. Because I told myself, I like jewelry, don't get me wrong, but I'm not investing in my jewelry. I'm not making my jewelry more rich than he already is. I need to invest in myself so I can be rich and then I can be able to afford. So I won't be able to have to pay for the jewelry I'm popping. So this property right here, we'll be paying for it, and that property right there, we'll be paying for another roll or something. And this property right there, I need you to pay for my Rolls Royce. Oh, don't forget this one over here, I need you to pay for some too. So like, I decided I wanted to invest in myself. I wanted to make myself more of that guy. These fighters, don't get it wrong, these fighters out here is doing, some of them ain't doing their thing, but they not that guy because they're not focusing on themselves. That money come like this, 100,000, 50,000. These fighters that's out here making no little money like that, like, that's money to us. When you're coming from nothing, that's money. It's a lot of money. 100,000, 50,000, it's still a lot of money when you come from nothing. So like, I understand we gotta experience like to lose it, but why wait for us too long to realize that you're losing too much. And I realized that early on, and I made some changes, and now I'm a businessman.
I love it. The fighter, the businessman, all wrapped up in one. How active do you think you'll be this year? How many fights?
Probably 2 yards line.
But oh yeah, and I told myself I can't be behind. And I was driving a Mercedes-Benz GLA 45 AMG. I can't be driving any fancy cars. I had a nice in New Jersey. But I'm like, I need a house, bro. I need a house. Now I regret it. I don't want a house. All this snow. That shit was not it. I was stressing. I'm like, ooh, I was standing on top of my arm. It was so deep. I'm like, I do something on the ground and, ooh, I don't want this. And it's not it. I haven't shot me in years.